I made this video because a friend of mine just yesterday said in response to my question why the Clintons are running such a nasty campaign against Senator Barack Obama, that's the Clintons. That's what they do. They are nasty. They'll do anything it takes to win. They will distort the truth. They are, and he used other choice words. So in order to see this for myself in more detail and show it to you as well, I decided to take a look at Senator Hillary Clinton's statements on Meet the Press just yesterday, Sunday, and compare them with what she said just before, for example, in earlier appearances on different shows and programs, to see if they actually match, and to really compare and contrast. Well, I just want to see if what he's saying is true. I mean, she's really distorting the truth. Let's start with the Meet the Press appearance. Yesterday, she says that regarding the famous Martin Luther King incident, this.
What is this all about?
Well, beats me, because there's not one shred of truth in what you've just read, and I regret that, because obviously a lot of people have been given information or an impression that is absolutely false. First, with respect to Dr. King, Tim, I was 14 years old when I heard Dr. King speak in person. He is one of the people that I admire most in the world. And the point that I was responding to from Senator Obama himself in a number of speeches he was making is his comparison of himself to President Kennedy and Dr. King. And there is no doubt that the inspiration offered by all three of them is essential. It is critical to who we are as a nation, what we believe in, the dreams and aspirations that we all have. But I also said that, Dr. King didn't just give speeches. He marched, he organized, he protested, he was gassed, he was beaten, he was jailed. He understood that he had to move the political process and bring in those who were in political power. And he campaigned for political leaders, including Lyndon Johnson, because he wanted somebody in the White House who would act on what he had devoted his life to achieving.
But when she was interviewed on Fox News, this is what she actually said.
Saying false hopes. Dr. King standing on the steps of Lincoln Memorial looking out over the magnificent crowd, the reflecting pool of the Washington Monument. Sorry guys, false hope. The dream will die. It can't be done. False hope. We don't need leaders to tell us what we can't do. We need leaders to tell us what we can do and inspire us to do. Would you react to that?
I would, and I would point to the fact that Dr. King's dream began to be realized when President Lyndon Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. When he was able to get through Congress something that President Kennedy was hopeful to do, President before had not even tried, but it took a president to get it done. That dream became a reality. The power of that dream became real in people's lives because we had a president who said, we're going to do it, and actually got it accomplished.
Senator.
Here's an example of a distortion. Instead of answering Tim Russerd's question regarding what she was asked on Fox News and her response, as you just saw, she blames Senator Obama for it. She says Senator Obama was comparing himself to Martin Luther King Jr. and John F. Kennedy, when in point of fact, as you saw, he wasn't. Let's take a look at what Senator Clinton says about the gender card.
Event. When I did the debate with Rick Lazio with you in Buffalo in 2000, Mr. Lazio walked over to your podium and asked you to sign a document to ban soft money, and people said that he had violated your space. One of your campaign advisors said he was menacing. After the Philadelphia debate, your campaign said that the men were piling on, which led some women, commentators, writers, to say this. Maureen Dowd: if the gender game worked when Rick Lazio muscled into her space, why shouldn't it work when Obama and Edwards muster some mettle? If she could become a senator by playing the victim, surely she can become president by playing the victim now. Ruth Marcus, Washington Post: Hillary Clinton doesn't need to play the woman as victim card. Using gender this way is a setback.
Well, I don't think that either of us should use gender. I don't think this campaign is about gender, and I sure hope it's not about race. It needs to be about the individuals each of us is running.
And then now look at her statement to Campbell Brown at the CNN Las Vegas Democratic debate.
Senator Clinton, you went to your alma mater recently, Wellesley College, and you said there that your tenure had prepared you to compete in the all-boys club of presidential politics. At the same time, your campaign has accused this all-boys club surrounding you on stage of piling on with their attacks against you. And then your husband recently came to your defense by saying that these, quote, boys have been getting rough with you. And some have suggested that you, that your campaign, that your husband are exploiting gender as a political issue during this campaign. What's really going on here?
Well, I'm not exploiting anything at all. I'm not playing, as some people say, the gender card here in Las Vegas. I'm just trying to play the winning card. And I understand very well that people are not attacking me because I'm a woman. They're attacking me because I'm ahead. And I understand that, as Harry Truman famously said, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And I feel very comfortable in the kitchen, and I'm going to, withstand the heat. But, this is really one of the kind of issues that we can laugh about, because it's exciting when you look at this field of candidates. Several of us would never have had a chance to stand here and run for president, a Latino, an African American, a woman, if it hadn't been for the progress of America over my lifetime. And I am thrilled to be running to be the first woman president.
Now, if that's not playing the gender card, I don't know what is, all right? Yes, she's proud that she's a female candidate, but she says it. Senator Obama's not saying, I'm proud that I'm a black candidate. I'm running to be the first African-American president. He's never said that. But Senator Clinton consistently says this, but then says, I'm not playing the gender card. She says the boys are ganging up on her. She said it twice. She said it in the Las Vegas debate. She said it after the New Hampshire debate, if you remember. She said that that Clinton said that Obama and Edwards are ganging up on her. So she's playing, I hate to use the term playing the gender card, but essentially that is what she's doing. Now, time out here. Matters of race and gender and breaking the glass ceiling are not cards to be played. They're serious issues. I'm not saying she's doing it for sympathy. I'm saying she really believes in what she says, but she should say that. But if she says it, then Senator Obama should have the right to say that he's running because he believes in the country, but also he understands the full weight and gravity of his win and how it would improve how African American kids in particular see themselves. He should be able to say that if Senator Clinton is able to say that. Now, let's look at Senator Clinton and the 2002 resolution that launched our invasion of Iraq.
The 11th Amendment called for the UN to pass a new resolution explicitly approving the use of force against Iraq. It also required the president to return to Congress if his UN efforts failed. Senator Levin said, allow Congress to vote only after exhausting all options with the United States. You did not participate in that vote. You voted against Carl Levin, who was saying give diplomacy a chance, and yet you said no. You voted to authorize war. The resolution you voted for, Robert Byrd said was a blank check for George Bush. Ted Kennedy says was a vote for war. James Carville and Paul Begala said anyone who says that vote wasn't a vote for war is bunk.
Well, Tim, if I had a lot of paper in front of me, I could quote people who say something very differently. So I know you're very good at this, and I respect it, but let's look at the context here. Number one, the Levin Amendment, in my view, gave the Security Council of the United Nations a veto over American presidential power. I don't believe that is an appropriate policy for the United States, no matter who is our president. Fourth, it is absolutely unfair to say that the vote, as Chuck Hagel, who was one of the architects of the resolution, has said, was a vote for war. It was a vote to use the threat of force against Saddam Hussein, who never did anything without being made to do so.
The title of the act was the Authorization for Use of Military Force Against Iraq Resolution.
But you know, Tim, that was exactly what would happen if we weren't successful with the diplomacy and if we weren't successful in persuading Hussein to do something. And let me just add here that when we were moving toward...
Now, in this instance, the New York Times pointed out an amazing contradiction between what Senator Clinton said on Meet the Press and the truth. Take a look at what the New York Times said. The New York Times said this: "It was the White House proposal, not Mr. Hagel's, that Mrs. Clinton, as they call her, supported, explaining in an October 10th, 2002 speech on the Senate floor that it was time to tell Saddam Hussein that this is your last chance. Disarm or be disarmed." The repeated reference to Mr. Hagel by the Clintons make it clear that they are trying to distance her from the Bush administration's handling of Iraq by associating her with a persistent critic of the war. So the bottom line is that the Clintons are playing fast and loose with the truth to improve how you look at them as people who should return to the White House. But the reality is, in a YouTube environment, they can't get away with the kind of politics as usual they've used in the past.